Hello, everyone. I'm Dana Al Rashid, and I'm the artist behind Khaleeji Art Museum's current exhibition, The Architecture of Memory. So, in case you have visited the exhibition, you will notice that I have created a style inspired by miniature art, Islamic miniature art, and I have called it modern miniature or digital miniature. So, in this workshop, we are going to tackle a particular segment of the style that I have created, and we're going to use pixel art to create digital mosaics. Because as you have noticed in the Islamic art, they use mosaic, so it's very similar to pixel art. And I figured that something that using pixel art to kind of utilize it to create that effect would be very interesting. And it is exactly the same technique that I have used in the artworks to create patterns and to create frames. So I'm going to share this technique with you today, and I promise you that you're going to be surprised at how easy it is and how infinite the designs that you can come up with and how beautiful the result is. So now I'm going to share with you briefly a few examples of what I have done. So I did this yesterday. Let me zoom in and show you what I mean. So today we will be doing something like this. So we will be taking, let me use the pointer. So we will be taking a palette, an existing palette, and then I will show you how to create patterns such as this, how to link them together, and how to utilize negative spaces, and then how to create a frame or a frame-like structure, and using something similar to the tadhib effect that is commonly, or gold leafing effect that is commonly seen in the miniature art and in the old Islamic art. So now to start, this is the space that we will start in today. So what is this exactly? So you get to Google. I highly recommend that you Google an already existing palette. This is because the palettes that are found in, so just a pointer here. This is, I'm using Microsoft Paint, but feel free to use any software that utilizes pixel art. I am also using this, I'm not sure if I'm visible or not, but I'm using a Wacom tablet with a pen and a tablet just to make the job easier. However, you can still use the regular mouse or even the trackpad and get the same results since we are working pixel by pixel. So you can still use Photoshop, you can use whatever software or platform as long as it utilizes pixel art. So I have Googled this free palette. It's called the Pico palette, which if you play old school video games, you will definitely know what I'm talking about. It used to be the palette for old video game consoles that often used pixel art. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint the background gray to neutralize the color. So painting the background gray will give you a more honest representation of what exactly you're doing. So this is the first thing we're going to do. And then we're going to use like a dark color. So for example, you see this is almost black, but with pixel art, so it can read better, it's actually not purely black. So it has a hue of reddish, purplish tints, or maybe bluish tints, entirely up to you. So I'm just showing you examples of the colors that are here. So this one has a more bluish hue to it. So we're going to choose, let's stick to the purplish one. And now we're going to zoom as much as possible just to make things super comfortable for us. And we're going to be working pixel by pixel. So now the mindset that I want you to put yourself in is now we're going to create a floral pattern or a flower using pixel by pixel. So now we put one pixel and this will be the center of the flower. So let's create petals for the flower. And I'm going to use the second color, the background color, so it would be easier for me to erase. So I am drawing. So this is one petal, petal, petal. And with pixel art, of course, you can copy and flip horizontally or vertically. But for me, I like to practice it manually to give me a better grip on symmetry. However, you will see that in this workshop, I will still be using the flip and rotate and copy, all these like tricks that make our life that much easier. So now I'm gonna draw something that is similar to, yani, maybe leaves or yani, something like that. So we have these tiny little leaves. Okay, and now maybe I want to add just a bit more. With the pixel art, it's just a free flow. So you allow the pixel to take you wherever it wants. So now I'm just free flowing. And then maybe let's create something like this. Kind of like a border, because now I want to begin by creating a tiny tile. So now I have something very simple like this, and I just want to create a mini little thing on the borders, just a mini detail. But now that I see it, it might be too busy, so I'll just simply cancel it. No worries. Now the trick here, and what's going to make this super magical, is the colors. So I'm just going to move this teeny tiny pixel here, and maybe just choose a couple of colors. Maybe just choose the thing with these palettes, it makes your life that much easier because most of the colors go very well together. So there's very little room for error, and that makes things very enjoyable. So I'm just going to use maybe this color scheme. So I'm going to color the so-called petals this way. And maybe just color these, because I still want to see if I can still do the leaf thingy, just like I proposed earlier. And then maybe another color, maybe just, I think maybe purple would look good with this. And here there is plenty of room for experimentation. So I'm just gonna maybe just choose this color. And next time we're gonna work with just a bit larger of a frame. And then what I would like to use is violet as well. And with pixel art, you want to do what is called color economy. So you want to be very smart in recycling your color and not using too many colors because it simply reads better. So maybe something like this instead of the darker one, or maybe, yeah, there's a lot of room for experimentation. So what I want to do, maybe add more yellow here. And let's see if I can add something here, give it a bit more detail. I want to make the core this color, and so here you have a very simple, very simple example of what it looks like. So to me, and there's, as I said, there's a lot of intuition involved and a lot of hey, what would I like this drawing to look like? So for me now it kind of looks too dark. So what I'm doing is adding a bit more detail, and it looks like embroidery from traditional like tribes or cultures. So to me, it kind of looks like, you know, if you've seen some Palestinian or some embroidery, or even some Sedu embroidery that is very common in the Gulf region. So it kind of looks like that. But to me, when I added the yellow border, it kind of lightened up things a bit because I found it to be too dark. So let's see, something like this. And maybe, just maybe, to add dimension, maybe we can use the darker color that we used earlier, just in one bit, something like this, that can give it kind of like a shadow or dimension. And let's experiment one last bit before we do something else. So like, you know how in the Islamic designs, the patterns, the frames can be quite busy or ornamented. So I'm just trying to do something kind of similar to that. And there's a lot of playing it by ear, really. It's kind of like a soothing process. So to me, here in this level, I'm almost happy with it, but I still want to experiment just a bit more. Maybe with this area. Let's see. I like this better, and then because it looks more floral if you zoom out. The flower looks fuller this way, so I kind of like this one better. Let's see one last bit. Let's see if it works this way. So to me, I don't prefer this because there's a lot of fragmented pixels. So let's cancel this and maybe do something like this. And with this kind of thing, you want to use a program that you're fully comfortable with. So to me, I'm kind of content with this result. But now we're going to work on something that is a bit larger, that can give us more room to details. So don't forget to save your work so you don't lose your progress. And now let's see. Now I'm going to use maybe a different color for the outline. I love this color and I like this color as well, but let me choose this one. So in the first example, we began by 1 pixel. Let me zoom in some more so you can see. Okay, so in the first example, we used only 1 pixel. Now let's use something a bit larger. So maybe a square like this, or maybe something this big. I will use this one for the next level. Let's do this. And again, the same process. We are thinking or visualizing something very floral. So again, I'm trying to draw like petal-like. And here we are working with 2 angles, which are the 90 and the 45. We still didn't really tackle the 45 that much, but you can still see it in the previous example. Let me show you. There is still just like a hint of the 45, kind of degree. So these are the easiest angles to work with. Now we continue, and you see like the drawing is kind of more comfortable, so to speak, now that we use the larger kind of scale. Maybe we can do something like this, or maybe just like, since we're just playing and just simply beginning, let's use the same principle of doing the flowers, the leaves, because these are the petals. This is the center of the flower. And these are the leaves. See, like I already like this one that much better. And again, I mean, you can always like flip and rotate and stuff, but it's good to get some practice with your symmetry. And now I'm just adding a bit more, you know, kind of like a cap on the petals. There we go. And maybe I want this to be softer. So you have, there's a lot of instant kind of decision making going on. So I'm trying to see here, I deleted some just to see if I like this side better or that side better. So, let's stick to the softer one. And then, let's see, I want to extend some, actually, no, because these are soft, so let's do something like this. And then, again, we try to frame whatever we did, but I'm not making a full frame, if that makes any sense. Just, it's very interesting because it's like making a flower in bloom. So here you have the choice of either closing the frame completely like this or keeping it open. So I left like this side open and that side closed, just so you can see. And here's an angular kind of. So closing it this way makes it look more like a tile, like a ceramic tile that was also very commonly used. So if we stick to this, and let's pick some nice colors for it. So maybe pick, let's see, I want to pick maybe, let's see how these two colors work together. So don't be afraid of experimenting. Like sometimes I do like really odd color combinations on purpose, just to see how it might look like. I guess this is what art is really all about, like experimentation, right? I'm gonna make these teeny tiny, like almost skin color over here. That's gonna be a bit more visible as we choose more colors. Maybe this color would be nice to complement the red. And maybe some blues as well, maybe shade of blue. So see, this is a very flattering color in the core. And this makes the painting absolutely pop. So I'm going to do this in blue. And maybe, let's see, just a simple, isn't it amazing? Like just a simple edit here can make the drawing look completely different. And now here, I'm not very sure what to do with what colors to choose here. So I'm just basically going to experiment. Just like be fully relaxed, like because it doesn't have to be the final result. You can always like go back and change it. Maybe lighter. Now what I feel it might be missing is more utilization of this color. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. So these, kind of, now I changed my mind because I want this to be the whole thing. So let's see. Maybe introduce another color, perhaps. Let's see. Let's try the yellow. Let's see how it works. I have a feeling it's going to work very well. Yeah, it's a subtle difference from the skin shade, the pinky shade. So I might go again and try to get some more contrast in there. But to me, this looks decent enough. And maybe again, I like adding yellowish kind of frames. And just one last bit of, let's just draw a square instead of doing it manually this time. And there's always tweaking and experimentation. So maybe you like, instead of this color that we began with for the outline, we just turn the whole outline to the reddish, up to you. And now, because we only use the red here, we can use it elsewhere too. Now it's coming in nicely, I think. So with pixel art, I think it's a matter of constant tweaking. And now, because the yellow is too similar to the skin kind of salmony tone, I'm thinking about changing the salmony tone and maybe adding something different. So I'm just gonna maybe experiment with 2 colors and see which one fits better. So this is the pink. I don't like it that much. And this is the orange. This looks nice, but let me see if I can, maybe also, you know, people don't be scared of like trying new stuff. So I'm gonna try this crazy lime kind of electric green color. It works well too. Now let's just stick to the subtle difference between the salmon and the yellow. Let me see if I can. One last bit before I show you something super magical now. So just a final bit of tweaking before we do. So I'm adding a bit of a frame here to the center or the core of the flower. Yeah, and I think it's pretty much done. It looks decent to me. So now let me show you something cool / magical. Let's copy this and see how it would look like if we put the tiles next to each other. So, and we can do the same thing for the previous one we did. So let's put these guys here for the time being. And let's just copy paste. And here you put the transparent selection so it can, you know. Simply copy pasting it and you get a very interesting, nice little tile thing. That is very interesting to look at because you get some very interesting shapes in the middle. And again, if you want, you can add some dimension to it. So for example, if you move using Microsoft Paint, as you move, you do some shift, you press shift, you're gonna get this interesting result. It kind of makes the drawing kind of look 3D. But that's totally up to you. Some people like the fully 2-dimensional kind of look. So this is an example. And if you're uber meticulous about it, you can also put the kind of 45 angle here, just to complement this angle. And 45 angle here. Okay. So now that we got a bit of practice, let's try this tiny guy too. And what's really cool also is that I wish I did these the same size, but let me see if I can do something. If we can enlarge this just a tiny bit and make it almost the same size as this guy. And you know, hypothetically, because it's still gonna look just a bit weird in the center. But what I'm trying to show you is that you can put them next to each other. This is like hypothetical. And with this, like if we tweak this just a bit, but I want for time's sake, but we can do something like this. And it can also give us a very different result from so what we can do is this, or even this, so they can share the same border, but I'll just stick to this right now. You know, and basically you can get a different result from the one in the bottom. And just like erase the extras here. I'm doing this one kind of rough because I want to move on to something really exciting in a bit. Okay, so we have this one here. Now let's do the shift thing as well. Maybe if you don't like the colors here, you can just again, this example is super rough because I want to move on to larger kind of patterns. Okay, so you see, like we just spent literally like less than 10 minutes just working on these tiles, and you still have a very cool effect. So now I want to work on maybe some reds and blues and that kind of color scheme. Let's see, I haven't decided yet, but let's see. So now what I'm gonna do is work on a larger scale, same principle. So now I'm gonna be slightly faster. So now we have again the center that I talked to you about. This is larger. So make sure you're working one pixel, pixel by pixel. Okay. So now I'm gonna make the center just larger. So I'm gonna work with something like this now. Or maybe what I wanna do is actually I wanna work from something that looks like a plus, and I'll show you why. Because I want this time for the petals to kind of have this kind of a definition in their center. So again, I haven't decided anything. I haven't even decided on the size of the petals, if they're still going to be this size or not. And you know what's really cool? As you're in this process, you can see different effects. So maybe you want it to be tinier. Maybe, let me show you what I mean. So maybe you want the petal to be super small. Maybe you want it large. For me, I'm content so far with this size. Yes, I like this result better. Sometimes just a few pixels of more resolution. That's the magic with pixel art, because basically every pixel really counts. So then again, I'm working manually by, measuring it with my eyesight, say simply with my eyes. And again, I like the border idea that I did with the petals in the past example. So I'm gonna try to do something similar here. Excuse the bulkiness of the dark blue. So that's gonna change. And again, something that somewhat resembling the leaves. And you know what's amazing is that every time you start, even though it's kind of a similar start, but you get a very different result every single time by simply doing a very, minor change, or like just a tiny choice. That's what I was trying to do. A tiny choice can completely change the result. It's just really fascinating. Okay, so we did this. What I want to do is just give it a little trim here. Okay. And I'm going to keep this for now. Okay. So now I'm going to show you the magic of colors, how this will look completely different with colors. But notice that it's not completely symmetrical because I'm working manually. So we can work on that. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So now let's choose with this pattern. Let's choose. I'm going to use some white and red and blue later on, perhaps. Let's see. So I want the petals to be white and the core to be red. Maybe these guys to be red. As you can see, I'm just basically there's a lot of improvisation going on. I want also the border. Let me see how that might look like. They are all subject to change, of course. Okay, and maybe add some. You see, I like how tribal this looks, and maybe some bright blue. And I'm tempted to add a very like delicate shade of like pink or salmon, similar to the shade that we used. And while I'm here, I'm kind of experimenting with how this might look. Should I do it like completely closed, or kind of like the look of this? And let me see how the salmon may look like with this. The cool thing about this palette, this is the Pico palette. The Pico palette is usually half this color. This is called the secret Pico palette. So the original Pico palette has a bit less colors, almost like half of these. I like this one. And let's see how that may look like. So here, let me show you how I choose the colors. I wanted to have more contrast with the red. So again, I will choose something lighter and see if that works. Yeah, that works much better. And I want this to be lighter, kind of seeing if I'm going to do this. And now I'm wondering what I'm going to do with the center. So I'm going to reuse the blue because it hasn't been used that much. process may take a while, but the cool thing about this is that it's kind of rewarding because it's really, you get results really fast. And as you can see, I'm constantly zooming out and seeing how it looks like. Let's see if I add a blue center. Oops. I like it better this way. Now I'll add one more thing. I want to see how it, like again, there's always color economy in pixel art. So it's always better to reuse the colors rather than introduce a new color. This will be harder to read, I feel. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna keep it for now. I wanna see if I can soften the edges here as well. No, I prefer it with, and let's see if we can elongate the whites, see how that looks like too. And sometimes you don't have to do it on all sides, maybe like vertically or horizontally to give the illusion that certain patterns, petals are longer. So let's see this. I like it better this way. There's more of a kind of a breather. And with color economy, I'm going to reuse the blue here. Now maybe see, like the edge here is kind of, yeah. Okay, so we have this design, mini design here that is floral. And I want to compare it with these guys here. You can see that the center is slightly bigger here. It's just like 1 pixel or 2 pixels larger. But I'm going to show you how that's going to make a world of difference. So we have this guy here. What we're going to do now, also some magical kind of fun thing to do. I'm going to leave this on the side because it's our basic sample. I'm going to basically just copy paste it and see what comes up. I think this is going to be exciting because of the X kind of shape that we have. Okay, wonderful. Okay, it's coming up really nicely. Okay, so I'm just gonna do 3 rows for now. Okay, and now if you see this negative space here, we're gonna fill it up. So I wanna see how it may look like if the filling is this color, or let's see if it looks, now I like the pink one better. Or even let's see if it's red. My intuition says, yeah, my intuition says the pink one would look good. Okay, so now we're gonna work on one of these and see what does the X here, what does it lend itself to? So to me, I feel that there's kind of like a implicit square. Reminds me of the Gestalt psychology, if you know of that. That's pretty cool. Like, I recommend that you Google it. So in Gestalt psychology, you see things that are suggested simply by negative spaces or things of that sort. So now again, I'm just making things up. I'm not sure. As we're doing this, I'm not sure what the final result will be, but I'm just intuitively following the grid of the 90-degree and the 45-degree, even though, to be honest with you, I don't like to kind of view it in such a technical term. But because some of you might operate that way, you have more of a technical background or like scientific background. So I'm trying to explain myself to everyone that might be interested in this workshop. Okay, so I have this and maybe a bit of blue in the center and a bit of red, And I highly recommend that as you work, you zoom in and out and see what you're doing. So for me, I'm not a huge fan of these guys here, like how. So I'm doing this, and let's see. See, now it looks so much softer. And I want to see if I can shorten these guys here. Yeah, that looks more delicate. This is so much fun. I hope you're having fun too. And you know what I love about this is that you don't even have to have like an uber artistic background to have good results. See? Now to me it looks very interesting. Now I want to see just add more softness to the edges here. And again, zoom out and see how that looks like. Yeah, coming in nicely, I think. Definitely. Let's see. I want to try one more thing. Again, this is the kind of thing that as you go, you improvise with it. I don't like this effect too much, but it's entirely up to you. I prefer the more subtle way, this way. Let's see. Yeah, I think it looks good this way. So now what I'm gonna do is simply copy paste. The cool thing about copy pasting with pixel art is you can always tell if something's off. So, okay, and whoops. And okay, isn't this awesome? You have the white core almost look like a sakura flower. So now what I'm gonna do is just clean this bit here so it looks more, you know, kind of like presentable. What have you? It's very interesting, like with Islamic and floral patterns, you get to work so much with the negative space and the idea of negative space. So let's see this. I want to just, there we go. So again, you can experiment with trimming. I just find this trim to be very interesting. And now if we do the 3D bit, you're going to find a very interesting kind of result because of how much color there is in the background. So, but to be honest with you, I'm quite pleased with this experiment more than the other ones because I got to have some leeway in the pixel. Okay, so now here at home you can clean this yourself, but I'm not going to do that right now because I want to show you one more thing. Just let's compare these guys together. It's very cool. So I want to show you that from one pattern, one tile, you can come up with so many things. All right, so now I'm going to do something exciting. Let's extract the pattern that we got from the negative space here and place it here. Do some cleaning. I think I cleansed it too much. Wait. So I'm just going to keep the squarish thing here. And let's see, I want to do it this way. And there's a lot of subjectivity. So to me, this looks better. Maybe to you, the other angle looks better. So now we have these two guys here. I want to show you something super cool. So let's copy them together. And you can even do what I'm about to demonstrate with this guy here. But for time's sake, let's just stick to these. And so now I'm going to imitate the tadhib principle, which is gold leafing, and create a frame with it. So I'm going to use, because these colors are on the cooler side, so I'm going to use a bit of a cooler kind of yellow with this cool orange here. And I'm going to make a teeny tiny kind of like dot thingy, or like between them, or button, let's say. Maybe just lengthen it just a bit. Maybe also widen it just a bit. Okay, so now, and then what we're going to do is flip and rotate horizontally. Okay, so just to make things clear, there's 1 pixel apart with everyone here. Okay, and now we're gonna use the straight line to create kind of like a border. And it's entirely up to you. Do you want a delicate one or a thicker one? But let's go with this one here. And I want it to also be 1 pixel apart from these guys. So, okay, and just closing the borders, so when I paint bucket it won't, you know, act on me. Okay, so the seed, again, the seed little thing, we just copy paste it here. Just we're creating a pattern. And now we're gonna think of the color that we're gonna choose for the background. I'm thinking maybe a royal blue, like, or a super dark blue, perhaps. Let's see. Again, there's like a ton of room for experimentation. I'm also tempted to use this color actually. So let's see. I want to see it this way. So again, I'm creating this kind of a border just so the paint bucket won't spill on me. So this is the same color that I used for the outline. And now with the contrast, I actually noticed that this is off. So let me fix that now. Okay, I like this one better. So let me fix that. There we go. All right. So now we have kind of a border. And now what I'm going to show you is how to fill this area here to get like a proper kind of like frame. And this is exactly the method that I use for my miniatures that you can find in the Khaleeji Art Museum. It's exactly the same method. You will see that in every single piece of them, I have used the pixel art, save for maybe 2 drawings that I have used a ready-made frame. But the rest of them, I have used this method. Okay, so now I'm gonna do something I want to do something that goes both ways, this like, and flatter kind of the design. I mean, here, my life would have been much easier if it wasn't 2 pixels like this. So let me try, bear with me. Let me try one more thing. And the cool thing is you can get away with a lot of copy pasting. Okay, so this is better. So here, I'm just gonna stretch it. Okay. And just don't be caught off guard when a surprise like this happens to you, because it's so easily fixable. Okay. So I'm gonna do the same thing with these guys here. Meaning, I'm gonna cut to this bit, and I'm gonna copy, paste, flip, rotate. There we go. Okay, now that we have 1, 2, 3 pixels wide, we can do what I had in mind, which is this design. Kind of looks weird right now, but you're going to be surprised once we zoom out. It's going to look really, really good. Maybe just let it curve this way, just by adding 1 pixel. Okay. All right, so now here I can see that there's just a tiny 1 pixel off, but for time's sake, I'm gonna keep it, and it's still gonna get a good result. So see, we get this lovely kind of shape here. And now we're gonna work on adding just a bit more detail with the lighter color, the lighter yellow. Kind of like a more abstract leaf shape, or yeah, something similar to a leafy shape, just to give it more depth or more. This is completely up to you what you're gonna do here. Maybe just a bit of dots here. And here, to balance out, because there's too much light yellow here, so I'm gonna just do, and this is gonna soften it. It's a technique called dithering. When you do something like this, add 2 colors that are close to each other. And see, now if we're gonna copy, paste, again, flip, rotate, and just for consistency's sake, I'm gonna do the bit in the back as well here, and I mean on the sides. And I'm gonna do just, whoops. Just don't forget, if you're using Microsoft Paint like me, just don't forget to change the color, the background color. And we have a lovely frame. I really hope you liked it. So today, let me show you what we were able to do in less than 1 hour now. And with this frame, let me just show you one last thing. So with this frame, you can simply, if you want to duplicate it, oops. So I want to use this frame. So how do I go about it? So I'm going to duplicate it from, let's say from here. And so I'm going to use this as a guide. And I'm going to do this. And with the frame, so how do you do the vertical one? So flip right 90 degrees. So the thing with Microsoft Paint, it might chew up just a bit of your design as you flip it. This is with the recent versions of it. So let's say you want to do it till here. And you're gonna extend it till here. And trim, trim. And you have this kind of weird kind of space here that we're gonna fix. So the work here is simply lots of just trimming and adjusting, because this is the end. I'm just gonna just clean it, get rid of this, and also get rid of this. And what I'm gonna do is just a tiny bit of editing here. And again, here, if you want it to look more like a frame, just adding this dot here can change so much, see? And you can do it here as well. Oops, here. And this bit, I'm simply gonna lift. Just give it a bit of a lift here. Okay, here. Okay. Now you have a cool frame. What I'm gonna do is just one more. Yeah, see, it's transparent because I chose this color as the background. So let me do that one more time. See, I'm gonna rotate it left by 90 degrees, and we have our beautiful frame. And it looks royal because of the colors I've chosen. Like when you choose the dark reds and the dark blues with the gold, or like the yellows that give a golden hue, you get this beautiful result. And this is exactly what I do. I'm just gonna save this progress because I like it so much. Definitely will be using it in my next miniatures. And now to conclude, I'm gonna show you what we did today. So today we first did this teeny tiny tile with less pixels, and we duplicated the tile to get a very basic design. So this is if you're super new to the whole thing. And here I also demonstrated if you put different tiles together. I want to show you. And then we did this one. We're using the negative space, and we extracted another pattern from the negative space. Put these patterns next to each other and create a beautiful frame. So one final thing, promise last thing, is that if you experiment with color inversion, you're gonna get some really funky results. So if you have this guy here and you say invert selection, let's see, oops. So I want to change the color. Invert color, okay. So excuse me. So if you invert the color here, you can get some very interesting results as well. Let me show you what I mean really briefly. So let's assume that we want to invert the colors here. Invert color, and you get almost like a different tile altogether. Did you see that? So that's another thing for you to experiment with. But again, today we experimented with tiles, with the negative spaces, and finally with creating a beautiful frame. And I hope you enjoyed this. Let me stop the share for now. All right. Okay, so I hope you really enjoyed this mini workshop as much as I did. And please kindly visit my exhibition at the Khaleeji Art Museum. It's called Architecture of Memory, and the style is modern miniatures that I use the pixel art that I just demonstrated in. And I hope you enjoyed your time with me. Please share your results with us. Bye-bye.